you serious? Are you serious? Get some coffee, everybody. Calm down. The volcano in Hawaii continues to explode with lava. The fissures, it's leaping. The lava's leaping. It's flowing. It's glowing. The fog, the smog, the volcanic fog, the haze, the lays, the crazy days. And now lava bombs. 23 people injured. This is getting serious. But first, let me break in right now and remind you, for 10 straight days, I promised I would let you know that over at Noble Gold Investments, they are taking care of people when it comes to the retirement plan. Whether it is if you're ready to do something with your 401k, you've just retired, or your IRA, or you just got an inheritance, or maybe an insurance settlement. Look, Pastor Begley can't help you on this stuff, but I tell you who can. NobleGoldInvestments.com, a Christian company, family-owned, and very good friends of our ministry. God bless you guys. Well, let me just tell you what's going on right now. I got a lot of wonderful partners in this great ministry of PaulBegleyProphecy.com. We are seeing people saved. It was unbelievable. Again, last night, I think it was 42 or 43 people saved. And God is just adding to the church daily, such as should be saved. But we got to pray because the apocalyptic signs of the end times are definitely upon us. And in Hawaii, there's no end in sight. The lava continues to flow. The fissures are glowing and flowing, and the lava's leaping 18 stories in the air. We got the smoke, the plumes, the fumes, the gases. All of this it's unbelievable. And there's no end in sight. Now, it's the big island of Hawaii that's majorly affected here. But there is other concerns tonight. It's the concerns of a never-ending battle with the magma. The magma's moving, the lava is leaping, and the wildlife is running. But where do they have to go? And, of course, over 3,000 people have lost their homes and had to evacuate, and there is no, what do they do? Where do they go? This is the situation we're dealing with. But the Bible did say that in the last days there would be blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And that's exactly what happened when that tour boat got hit with a lava bomb. It injured 23 people. There was blood flying. We had blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun is darkened and the moon will turn to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. Now, matter of fact, there was just an article written. It just came out 2 hours ago from the Huffington Post in which they talk about this blood moon. I'm in the article, and the Huffington Post, a pretty big news organization. And they mentioned me, and they mentioned Pastor John Hagee from back when he was doing the 4 blood moon situation. Now, we've just talked, there's been other articles written where I'm in them with Mark Biltz. And matter of fact, Pastor Mark Biltz is going to be back on our show. This time we'll be Skyping him in. He'll be with us for an hour. When's he coming? The day before the blood moon. He's going to be on our show live on July 26th. July 26th. So just hours before the blood moon. Pastor Mark Biltz will be here to give us more insight on the prophetic ramifications of this. But I'm going to put the link in this video below. It is a Huffington Post article. And they're fair. They're fair in it, basically. Space enthusiasts in a certain religions of the world will get free seats to the potentially once in a lifetime event on the celestial stage in late July. On July 27th, lucky stargazers will see the longest total lunar eclipse of the 21st century, also known as the blood moon. The nearly 2-hour total eclipse will be visible to people in parts of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, according to NASA. Well, it'll be right over Jerusalem. Now, the blood moons are not unusual occurrences. Still, these dramatic celestial events have inspired both awe and alarm throughout the centuries, including among some fringe segments of the American Christianity that take the appearance of blood moons to be a sign that the apocalypse is drawing near. A lunar eclipse occurs when a moon passes through the Earth's shadow and takes on a reddish glow, earning it the nickname blood moon. And a total lunar eclipse takes a few hours to unfold, and it's particularly dramatic. It happens when the sun, the earth, and the moon are perfectly lined up, which means the Earth's shadow completely covers the moon. This moment of total covering is called the totality. What's particularly remarkable about this month's lunar eclipse is how long it's totally in this phase. Matter of fact, NASA estimates the moon will be completely obscured for 1 hour and 43 minutes, the longest blood moon of the century. The organization has published a list of predicting dates and links, and a shorter lunar eclipse occurred back in January. We remember that. We talked about it. It was a super blue blood moon and on January 31st. Also, they go on to talk about the fact that while most Christians do not see eclipses as a sign of the end times, July's upcoming blood moon has already garnered interest in several Christian publications, including the Christian Broadcasting Network and the Christian Post. The biblical basis for the blood moon prophecies is often traced to Joel chapter 2, verse 31, which I just quoted a moment ago, a Bible verse that predicts the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon into blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. Paul Begley, a Baptist pastor from Indiana with a significant following on YouTube, told his followers in a recent video that he doesn't believe July 27th will be the end of the world. I have absolutely made sure everyone understood that. Thank you to the Huffington Post for posting that. Still, he said the upcoming blood moon could be a sign that these are the last days, and I truly believe that is true. In 2014 and 2015, a cluster of 4 blood moon events inspired a spat of new books and sermon series promising to help Christians decode the biblical meaning of the celestial occurrence. The most popular book in this wave was written by the prominent Texas mega pastor John Hagee. It became a New York Times bestseller, and certainly in 2017, Hagee was still preaching that his belief that those 4 blood moons coincided with key political events. And I agree with it, because right in the middle of those 4 blood moons was a 50-day war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Now, Craig Keener, he's a New Testament professor at Asbury Theological Seminary, told Huffington Post he believes most biblical scholars would be uncomfortable with ascribing theological significance to blood moons, and in his view, it's more of a popular level phenomenon than something that is taught from the pulpits. In fact, he says, Scripture strongly prohibits this kind of divination. I have to disagree with the professor. This isn't divination when it is a sign prophesied in the Bible by the book of Joel, in the book of Acts, and in the book of Revelation. So you have the prophet Joel, you have the apostle Peter, you have the apostle John, and Jesus, who said there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and distress of nations with perplexity, the sea, the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking after those things coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, he said, look up, lift up your head, your redemption draweth nigh. Jesus said this in Luke chapter 21, 25 through 28. So I guarantee you that Joel talks about the blood moon just before the end of time. That Peter talks about the blood moon in the last days. That the Apostle John talks about a blood moon in the breaking of the sixth seal, and Jesus talks about the signs in the moon and stars, the sun, and the celestial bodies of the heavens just before he returns to the earth. I'm sure these four were not confused, and none of them was using divination. But that is just the opinion of one professor. Now, one would think that after a few blood moons and lunar eclipses in history, people would recognize that such an event does not by itself mean that the end is coming. And that's true. One sign is not what we go by. This is just one sign. If you follow our ministry, we'll show you tons of signs that are happening. Damascus is certainly a sign. Israel being surrounded is a sign. But when you have a blood moon, when you have the longest blood moon of the century over Jerusalem, in Israel's 70th year of a nation, in the year that Jerusalem became the capital of Israel, and the same night Mars makes its closest approach to the earth in 15 years, and the second closest approach to the earth in 60,000 years, and Mars is in a state of chaos right now with a dust storm completely taking over the planet. And that's just a few things. And oh, by the way, it's also the same day as the first day of the grape harvest in the Holy Land, which you can confirm in the book of Revelation 14:14. Oh, seriously, you just can't make these things up. And by the way, Israel has been in military conflict, not only with Hamas in Gaza, but with the Iranians in Syria. There's just too many signs happening at once. So no, a blood moon is only one sign of many prophecies. But when they're all coming together at the same time, and do I even dare bring up Hawaii and the flowing of the lava and the smoke and the blood and the fire? Give your life to Jesus Christ, folks. We are living, certainly we're living, in the last days. Time is running out. Are you saved?